welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we're really excited today. We have another weekend of Hallmark movies to give our thoughts on. It was a pretty strong weekend, in my opinion. And I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Jess is here.
Hi, everybody.
And Cammie is here.
Hi, everybody. I just want to point out that I have my festive red, but I have my Thanksgiving earrings on.
It's still November.
Nice. Thanksgiving earrings. That is impressive.
My mom gave them to me. They're little turkeys. See?
Oh, that's cute.
I love it.
So we're now in weekend four that we're talking about of Hallmark Christmas movies 2022. And overall, of the ones that you've seen, would you say it's been a strong season overall, or how do you feel? What do you think, Jess?
Well, I'm already behind, as I expected. So I haven't seen everything. I'm not quite as far behind as I thought I was going to be, but I think it's decently strong. I've had a couple that I was like, yes, this is the movie for me, and there hasn't been as many that have been like true duds. So I think it's decently strong.
Yeah. What do you think, Cammie?
I'm kind of in the middle. There have been some that I just went, now that was a good movie, and then there have been a couple that I just went, no,
not for me.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think it's been a really strong group, but yeah, there were three. There's been three that I was not a fan of. But yeah,
were any of those in this weekend's lineup?
Thankfully, no. I really enjoyed all four of these movies. So for me, at least, I thought this was a very strong weekend for the channels. So, but let's dive in and let's get going here. So let's talk about the Friday movie. This was on the 11th, and it was called In Merry Measure. It was originally the Christmas Carol competition. But they changed that to In Merry Measure, which
I like that
a smart
name.
Move.
Yeah, smart move.
Yeah, better name. And this stars Patty Murin, Brendan Penny, Jennifer Robertson, directed by Paula Ellie, and written by Russell Heinlein. And this looked like he only had a couple credits to his name, and this is definitely his first rom-com, so that's fun. And it's when pop star Darcy returns home to spend Christmas with her sister and niece, she unexpectedly finds herself coaching the high school choir with her one-time rival. And this always makes me laugh in these movies when people go home for Christmas and they're like, we're going to put you to work. That is just not my jam. Like, if I was traveling back to, I guess my parents haven't lived where I grew up for a long time, so maybe it's a little different dynamic because I don't know the people that
you don't have the town
knowledge. But if they were just I want to relax, as much as possible. So the idea of we're gonna make you do all this stuff, I'd be like, what? No way. I always think that's kind of funny in these movies. I don't know, what do you think, Jess, if they were like, you're home for a vacation, time to lead the choir?
Yeah. So I live in a small town, and I live here still now, but even when I wasn't living here and I came home, I can't say anybody ever asked me to do anything.
Yeah.
And I am in a town where everybody knows everybody. So.
Yeah. Cammie, I feel like you're the opposite though. You would be like, yes, let me lead the choir.
Yeah. It's happened before.
Yeah.
So
I have no talents that anybody would want to use during Christmas, whereas you do.
My big thing is how much time you're spending there. Since they were still in school and everything, it made it sound like she was going there at the beginning of December. If it was Christmas vacation, if she got there on the 19th, I'm like, no. But if she's there for pretty much the whole month, and and she loves music and she's trying to get back into the swing of things musically, it's a good duster offer.
Yeah. I guess in fairness, in this one, they didn't really ask her. It was her idea, to help her niece. So
yeah. And the other thing is that this was a group that I don't think that it started when she was there, but it was something that she had been involved in all of her high school years. There was something that we called the Yuletide Carolers, and in my high school, and we would dress up in Victorian costumes and everything like that. And so if I got asked to help by my old choir director, then I probably would.
Yeah.
would go so this movie is about Cammie's life.
Yeah. We didn't know.
Now, Cammie, direct a Christmas play. You have 3 weeks to do it. I don't know if I could pull that off.
I believe you.
I absolutely think you could pull that off.
I don't think I could.
No doubt. But what did you think about this one? What do you think, Jess?
This one was a huge surprise for me. I didn't think I was going to like it at all because I'm not as big a fan of music-based movies. So I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but I actually really loved this one. I adored Brendan Penny kind of being this like nerdier, with the glasses, and
I just why would you like that, Jess?
I don't know. Not like I'm a big nerd or anything, And I thought Patty was so much fun in this. The only thing I didn't really care for was some of the singing, but that's only because I feel like it sounds a little studio recorded, and I just don't like that when I can tell it's been recorded. Mm-hmm. But I thought the dialogue was fun, and some of the awkward things that happened just made it feel so much more relatable and realistic. So I really liked it.
What do you think, Cammie?
You guys are gonna be shocked, but
no!
It wasn't my favorite.
Wait, how did I enjoy the music movie more than you?
Now, in all fairness, I was watching this kind of late at night, and so I was kind of done for the day, and it didn't grab my attention the way some others have, and so that could have been something that was influencing my opinion. One thing I will say is I really loved Brendan's character. I really, really did. I loved that, they weren't afraid, and he wasn't afraid to appear more nerdy. I also loved how they didn't just say we were rivals. They talked about what happened. They talked about what led them to that. And when he said, I was an 18-year-old flipping burgers with headphones, trying desperately to have my boss not hear me. And at 18, you were traveling all over the world singing your heart out. That was one moment that really hit it home for me. And I did love the awkwardness. I love that he actually asked her out and more than once. The kiss was a little interesting. It kind of made me shoot back. I was like, oh, he just kissed her. It just kind of came up on me by surprise. So I did not hate it by any means. It just was not my favorite of the weekend, but I was watching it very late at night.
So, fair enough. I really enjoyed it, and I actually connected with it on an emotional level because I had a choir teacher growing up that was really obsessed with winning, and she failed in her responsibility to nurture talent, unfortunately. And for a long time, I just thought I was a terrible singer because of the way that she treated me. I'm not saying I'm like the greatest singer in the world, but like I have a fine voice, I have a serviceable voice, and she made me feel really bad about myself. And so this sort of journey that the niece goes on from this failed audition and feeling bad about herself was kind of like the thing I wish I had what I wish I had experienced in high school. So it was sort of escapist for that for me. And so that all really worked. And I agree, like put Brendan Penny through the nerdifier machine any day, and I'm a fan. Like, because I have to admit, I'm normally not a huge fan of his. He's a little smug sometimes on screen for me. But this really worked. Like,
I actually think that worked for his character in this movie.
It did. It worked for his character, and it was just super charming. And I feel like we're getting like the nerd chic this year on Hallmark, with some of these performances, which I really enjoy. Yeah. And so I liked that. And I love Patty Murin. I think she is like perfect for these movies. She's so sweet. And I think that I hope she makes many more Hallmark movies, because I think she has potential to definitely be a favorite. So
I had never seen her before.
Oh yeah, she had done that Iceland movie, the Winterfest movie, and I feel like she has done one other Christmas movie, but I can't think of it right now. But anyway, she was on Broadway in the original cast of Frozen. The musical.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah. So it was fun to see her like be this pop star in this this movie.
Yeah.
That must have been a hoot for her to get to do this like Sugar Rush and these like poppy kind of thing. That must have been fun for her. And I liked the relationship with her sister. I thought that was genuine.
Yeah,
and
that was very genuine.
Mm-hmm. That worked really well. It made me laugh. The bad singing of the students was funny, and in the I on Twitter I posted on when one of the kids is singing on the closed, because I watch with closed captions just because it helps me like focus.
Oh, I do the same.
Yeah. And it said boldly off key.
Boldly.
Like, yeah, he was going for it.
I tell you one thing, those closed captions, they can be so funny.
Yeah, they really can.
So funny sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. I agree with you, Cammie. I really liked the date, and sometimes they forget in these movies to have like a cute date, because they'll just be like working together, or so they forget to like set up the time to have like the awkward, will you go on a date with me? We go on a date. There's are we gonna have a kiss at the end? And in this one, she decides not to kiss him, which I appreciated, because it wasn't a near kiss that was stupid. Like the near kisses where they're like,
it wasn't interrupted by a dog barking,
or a phone or something
or a
like
phone
that.
Call.
Like, because nobody would stop kissing for a cell phone. Like nobody.
Not me.
But like she actually had a reason why, like because she knew she was leaving and she didn't want to get overly attached, and so I appreciated the near kiss that and I actually one of my favorite like brands of kisses is the like kind of like I guess the shut up and kiss me kind of, where you're, like she just went for it, and I enjoyed the kiss at the end. I thought it was fun. But and the music I thought was good. They kind of all looked like they were about to enter a Gryffindor house
with the scarves, yeah.
But and it was cute that I liked the fact that she still got to go and do her thing in New York, and then still make the concert, because one of the most cringy things in these kind of movies, in my opinion,
when they get up and leave.
Yeah, like you're in the middle of your presentation and you're like, I have to leave right now. Like, no, finish your stupid presentation.
Right.
Which is what they did.
To work something out.
Yeah. They got her home in time. And I mean, in reality, this would have been there's no way that they would have made her come home. Like they would have just done it over Zoom. Right. They wouldn't have made her come to New York for this meeting, but it worked for the story. Yeah. And I also liked the little moment when Brendan Penny, he's kind of sad, and he's like he's like the biggest cup of hot cocoa I've ever seen with this candy cane, and like that is like Hallmark to me in an image, right?
Yeah.
Like our hero nursing his broken heart with a cup of
over this very overly
peppermint latte or whatever.
Oh man.
It was good. So yeah, I liked the ending scene too, where they're like cute hanging out in their jams, Christmas jams. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's like also a thing. There's been a number of like Christmas jam scenes,
Yeah.
which I
It's
like.
the year of the jammies.
Yeah, it's the year of the jammies.
Where's the Hallmark special on some Christmas jammies?
Yeah.
I like Christmas jammies. I'm trying to get my husband to do a whole family Christmas jammy thing.
Do it.
He won't
Yes.
do it. He won't do it.
Well, you better do it.
Yeah.
Oh, Jess is calling you out.
Well, so I would give this movie, I give it like pretty high score. I would definitely watch it again. It's going to stay on my DVR. So I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5.
Wow.
I really had a good time with it. I mean, anytime you can bring the music. Oh, another moment that I love, because I love a subtle handhold, where they'll just like, oh, we just held hands. I love that. And this one was so cute, where it wasn't even a handhold. It was like they were like touching each other's fingers. It was like a finger touch. It was so cute. Loved that.
Finger brush.
So I liked that. But it was so cute when he gave her the Coach Darcy shirt.
Oh yeah,
adorable.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. So Jess, what would you give it?
I also rated it pretty high, and I do want to say, even though I said stuff about the singing, I really enjoyed Patty singing.
Oh,
that song that she sang. I wanted to say that as well. Like hers didn't sound super recorded, so I did want to say I loved her singing. But I gave it a 4.25. I really liked it.
Good score. What do you think? What will you give it, Cammie?
I'm gonna go 3.75. Because it wasn't my favorite of the weekend. I need to go back and watch it again because I was watching it with my daughter, and that's so hard. Watching with an 8-year-old is just really hard when you're trying to get details. So
yeah.
So I do need to go back and watch it again, but I'll give it a 3.75.
Very good. To thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast, it's the good folks at Baker Publishing Group. Looking for the perfect gift for the book lover in your life? Dive into some great dual time novels this Christmas where the past intersects with the present. First up, we have By Way of the Moonlight by Elizabeth Musser. Allie Massey's dream to use her grandparents' estate for equine therapy is crushed when she discovers the property has been sold to a contractor. With weeks until demolition, Allie unearths some of Nannydale's best-kept secrets, including her champion filly, a handsome man, and one fateful night during World War II, and perhaps a clue to keep her own dream alive. Next, Where the Last Rose Blooms by Ashley Clark. More than a century apart, two women seek lost hope. Abolitionist Clara is determined to help an enslaved woman reunite with her daughter. Alice can't stop wondering what happened to her mother in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Faced with the unknown, both women will have to dig deep to let their courage bloom. Next, When the Day Comes by Gabrielle Meyer. Libby has been given a powerful gift to live one life in 1774 colonial Williamsburg and the other in 1914 Gilded Age New York City. When she falls asleep in one life, she wakes up in the other without any time passing. On her 21st birthday, Libby must choose one path and forfeit the other. But how can she possibly decide when she has so much to lose? Then we have The Master Craftsman by Kelly Stewart. When Ava Lane's dying treasure hunter father entrusts to her his mission to find a missing Fabergé egg, she has no idea how high the stakes will climb or how her allegiances will be tested. Join the hunt in this lavish dual-time narrative that plunges you into the 1917 Russian Revolution, the fall of the Romanovs, and a long-buried Soviet secret. And finally, The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp by Sarah Brunsfold. Frustrated reporter Aidan Kelly begrudgingly agrees to help a hospice patient prepare her obituary, but old Claire Kipp has some incredible stories and some surprises up her sleeve that promises to make this seemingly throwaway assignment a life-changing one. So head over to bakerbookhouse.com/featured/Hallmarkies to pick up one of these great books and use code Hallmarkies40 for 40% off these titles from November 14th to December 12th. That's bakerbookhouse.com/featured/Hallmarkies and use code Hallmarkies40 for 40% off. Okay, then we have The Royal Nanny. This is on the 12th. This stars Rachel Scarston, Dan Giannette, Greta Scacchi, And it's Claire is an MI5 agent who becomes the royal nanny, having to overcome challenges on her mission as she keeps the family safe for Christmas and resists Prince Colin's charms. So, Cammie, overall, what do you think about this?
This movie had me. This movie had me until the very end. The end just kind of dropped off, and I was like, because I loved it all the way from the beginning up until that point.
You didn't like the whole like abduction?
No, I thought the abduction was fine. I didn't like her defense. It looked very choreographed. The defense of the children in the end, leading up to it, and Miss Lansbury showing her how, that all looked fine because it was demonstration. But the defense in the end, before she pulled them away, it just looked very, very choreographed. And then when she was pulling the children away, then and Prince Colin was being pulled the other way, I thought that was fabulous. I thought that was great. And then it just kind of dropped off at the end with the rescue and then the king calling, and I'm like, why but Dan Jeannot, I love that guy. I really love how versatile he is. He can do French, he can do British, he can do American, all with perfection. He can do whatever you throw at him. And I loved this twist on the royal trope. We got the uncle instead of the heir to the throne. We've got the care of the children of the crown princess, that we don't have the care of the heir to the throne. It made it different to watch, and it made it fun, and it also made the romance not as formidable, because he's not the heir to the throne. It's not impossible. So I loved it right until the end. I was like,
interesting. What do you think overall, Jess?
Yeah, I think I would agree with most of that. I agree. It was very refreshing to have a royal movie that was not about like the playboy prince who needs to be convinced to take his rightful seat at the throne. So it was really nice to have a royal movie that wasn't like that. About the takedown, it felt like almost like a bad remake of Home Alone. Mm-hmm. With her like pulling with the umbrella and everything and throwing things on the ground. I did enjoy it. I think I had different expectations of what it was going to be, and I just didn't enjoy the spy aspect as much. I think you enjoy it if you don't take it too seriously, but I wanted to take it seriously because I'm a crime show person. Like I wanted to see some really like fun spy stuff, and I just didn't feel like I quite got that. So I did really enjoy it though, and I still rated it pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that it was nice to have a royal movie that wasn't a Cinderella story.
Yeah,
the most of these are some sort of variation on Cinderella in some fashion, but this wasn't at all. So it was refreshing.
There was no big reveal. I'm a prince.
Yeah. Or no, like. Yeah, no, there's just what it just wasn't. It was something different, and overall, I had fun with it. I mean, the ending was goofy, ridiculous, but it was after I've watched already 45 Christmas movies this season already, and so it was refreshing.
Well, this was a breath of fresh air for you.
Yeah. It was refreshing. It was different, and I got to interview Dan on the pod, and he was so great and charming, and. It was fun to talk to him about, why they keep making him they keep making him European in all these movies.
He's so good at it.
But I really loved his interview. I thought that he was very, very charming, as I said, and fun. So, but yeah, I mean, I thought this had a lot of cute moments. I liked the banter, I think, was pretty good between them.
Oh, yeah. Especially the bucket.
Yes.
The bucket was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. And I like the Lansbury character was cute and fun, and the like non-Tangela Lansbury was very sweet, as always. And Yeah, these pranks that the kids pull off, and you know, that's how she wins them over, is that she participates in the prank, in one of the pranks. But it's
And
probably,
that Uncle Colin helps.
yeah. uh, and yeah, I mean, I thought there were just some funny lines, like when they have the conversation about what they want for Christmas, and they ends up, you know, who want the
Toenail
bag of
clippings.
toenails? Christmas. That was funny. The Royal Fun Club, that was super cute.
Yes. Yeah, the
Oh,
reindeer game. Like, I want to play
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen that kind of ring toss thing I don't think in a Christmas movie. That was
not in a, no, not in a, I've seen something like it in real life, but I've never seen it in a Christmas movie. And seeing the crown princess trying to sit in her gown.
Yeah. James Wilder, who she convinces to donate 1,000 presents, and he's just sitting there like, whoa. And I love in these movies when the guy is clearly gone from the moment he sees the girl. Like, that's to me very swoon worthy.
Yeah,
and
it's almost as if he didn't want to go through with the prank when he saw her.
Yeah,
he was like, oh. Hello.
Oh.
And that was the case here. And they all make the wishes on of course, it's a Christmas wishing fountain.
Of course.
And that was very sweet. And there's a whole tree lighting, and also the father of the kids, the prince, is gone. And it was sweet to have him come back at the end, and as dressed as Santa and everything, and she was able to make that for them. I mean, I think
one thing that I really liked is they went through real channels. It wasn't just these miraculous, look what happened, to make it more of a cheesy ending. You know, she says, how difficult would it be to schedule a video call? She gets on the phone and says, can we ground a flight? You know, she's the backbone to all of this.
Yeah, true. Yes. And she looked great in that red dress. I thought it was beautiful. And I just loved the line when he says, you look stunning as always. And she says, you've only seen me in my uniform. I stand by my statement.
I know.
That was really good.
Be still my beating heart.
I do think that, like, the whole sort of plot with her boss that didn't work as well.
What?
But I got a kick out of the whole, like, umbrella situation. Like, it was ridiculous, but I thought it was funny and kind of cute. But especially when Lansbury says that, yeah, how do you think I got called Scary Poppins from
Prince Colin?
Yeah, that was funny.
That was a fantastic nickname. That really was a fantastic nickname. Yeah. Jess, I have a question for you. So we agree about the defense part with the umbrella. What did you think of the abduction itself?
I thought was good.
That was real enough for you?
And that was closer to what I was like wanting, some of that nice, really like good, gritty action.
Yeah. I mean, I would encourage them to, like, use this as a stepping off point, because I think that it overall worked, and I'd love to see more along this line. That mixing a little bit of silly, fun, campy action. I think it goes really well, actually, with these movies, I think.
I would like campy action. I just want, I don't know. I think I want them to take it more seriously. I mean, spilling the marbles on the floor and then that's the kidnapper's undoing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they probably have some idea that you can't have, like, guns and things like that in a Hallmark movie. So that was sort of their solution. But I guess I feel like if you're going to go there. Like, you don't have to make it, like, you can still be G-rated, I think.
It can still be you don't even need a gun. You know, pop them over the head. That happens in plenty of them.
That's right. True. I mean, they do the Hallmark movies and mysteries, and they give you, I mean, They don't like show
true.
it, but you kind of know what's happening, even though they don't always like show like a graphic scene or anything, you know?
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, just
So
just go. You can still make it G-rated. You can still make it G-rated without having to shoot somebody in the head or the leg or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I guess
mean,
that's true about the marble part. That was a little silly. The umbrella part I thought was kind of funny.
No,
So
the umbrella I thought was cute. Yeah, when she hits him in the face. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was cute. But the marbles, I was like, okay, no.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. When Lansbury's like a nanny always plans for rain. That was a fun moment.
Yeah, no, I thought the umbrella was a very, very clever weapon because it's totally true. It looks so innocent and it can be used to cause some serious pain if you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Well, what would you give Cammie this movie 1 to 5?
Like I said, I absolutely loved it until the very end. So I'm gonna go 4.1.
All right. And what about you, Jess?
I think it's funny because you gave it a 0.1 and I gave it a 3.9. So for me, it was like I wanted to give it a 4, but I just wasn't quite there. But I love these two leads together.
Oh my gosh.
They had a great, easy chemistry. So they really helped sell it. And I think for me, it was, just a case of me wanting something different than the movie was trying to be. Yeah. And that's okay. And I think some people who are taking it more lightheartedly would have absolutely loved, like 100% loved it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't quite what I wanted out of it.
I give it a 4, so I'm like right in between you.
4.9, 4.1. We've got it.
I
all really like this one.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
So next we have Christmas at the Golden Dragon. And this was on the 13th. And Antonio Cupo, Sarah Canning, Kara Wang, Barbara Niven, Zach Santiago, director David Strasser, co-writer Emily Ting, co-writer Emily Ting and Belinda Bismeyer. And it's when Romy and Rick's parents surprise them with the news that they will be closing the Chinese restaurant that they have owned and operated for decades. The siblings each find themselves reevaluating their futures. Also impacted by the news are the Landmarks restaurant's loyal patrons and staff who have all come to depend on the restaurant over the holidays. And so I'll go first on this one. I have to admit that one of my soft spots in stories is like stories about siblings. And it's not, I have like good relationships with all of my siblings. There's no like problems, but I wouldn't say like any of us are like exceptionally close, like best friends kind of a thing, like, which is fine. But I guess there's a side of me that like wishes maybe we were closer, or like, I don't know, there's just something about these stories about siblings that really gets me in my heart and makes me want to try to do better. And I don't know, it's an element of a story that will a lot of times it really work for me. And so that going into this was something I was very excited about to see. And I wish that we almost got more time with the two siblings together because they're kind of separated for most of the movie.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I still liked getting to know both of their stories. And I think for the most part, I mean, this movie is like a little overstuffed. It's trying to do a little bit too much for 85 minutes. But I think for the most part, it worked for me and most of the stories worked. I think if I was going to cut one, I would probably cut the Barbara Niven one, even though I think she did a great job. I thought she was very good.
Down, Jess.
I thought she was very good, but I just felt like we didn't have enough time to really like, there was a lot going on in that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the one I probably would have like maybe saved for another movie, a different movie. But for the most part, I liked Rick and Sadie. I thought they were very sweet. I liked the Roma and forget the boyfriend's name. Blake.
Romy and Blake.
Yeah, they were good, and that was fun. And so overall, I enjoyed this. I liked Antonio Cupo's character and him dealing with the girls. And I would have probably cut out the Barbara Niven part and focused more on him and Sarah Canning's relationship, because that was kind of an afterthought. I would have liked to have seen them together more.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that saying, I enjoyed this movie, and I think it was just a really like brilliant idea, because so many people do go to Chinese food on Christmas, because it's the only place open on Christmas, and so it becomes a tradition for a lot of
Christmas
families.
Story.
Yeah, a Christmas Story. A lot of other families will go to Chinese, and so I think that was a very smart. It's hard to find new things to do in these Christmas movies that haven't been done, and so I think it was a smart idea for a story to do that. But Cammie, overall, what did you think of this one?
Overall, I loved this one. I really enjoyed the multiple storylines, because it's a restaurant. It's one of those places where you go in and you think everybody here has their own life. And what does that life entail? And that's what this movie did, is it showed the behind the scenes. And I loved how everything kind of wove together. And, the same boy that was turned down for a scholarship ended up being the same one that fixed her mother's porch light. And so she had to reconsider, because, yeah, it's not on his resume, but it all fits in with his community work. So I loved this one. I loved the feel of it. I had three things. Number one, the leaving on Christmas Eve. I know it was necessary, but make it the 23rd, because she was leaving on Christmas Eve night, and so I'm just like, man, really? Okay. So that part was tough for me.
Which one was leaving? Romy?
When Romy left on Christmas Eve night to go back home.
Okay.
I was like, wait, what? No, stop. And then number two was Zach's character. Luis had a cane, and we didn't know why. I was like, wait, did he have a stroke? What's wrong? Why can't he walk? Why is
and that character was a little underserved, because they were like, he was upset about his son getting a scholarship, but then he wasn't. It was a little confusing. I didn't quite understand what was going on with that.
I didn't either. That's the one story I thought needed more time.
And then the other thing that I just went, no way, was when what's her name? Hold please. Dang it.
Barbara Niven?
No, Rick's girlfriend. What?
Oh, Sadie.
Sadie, thank you. When Sadie shows up in a prom dress and it's snowing, I'm like, there's no way that you're standing out there in a sleeveless strap gown and you're not shivering your neck off.
She's probably just so proud that she still fits into the prom dress from.
So those were my three issues with it. Other than that, I kind of liked how packed it was, because it showed that everybody was leading their own lives. And everything wasn't closed up perfectly, but it gave you a peek into everybody's real life. And then they all came together And I also love that it wasn't save the restaurant. The restaurant still closed.
True.
They just wanted to have one last one Christmas all together. And okay, I loved the proposal. I thought that was the sweetest thing. And that, you know, he didn't magically have this beautiful ring. It was a last second split decision that he made to propose to her right there. And so he twists a piece of garland on it. It was, but he wanted to do it right there at the table where all of her other milestones had happened. That got me. That got me.
Well, Jess, overall, what did you think of this one?
I also overall really enjoyed it. I love movies that have multiple storylines that interconnect like this. So that really worked for me. And, you know, like we've already all said, a couple of them did need some more time. But I just enjoyed, you know, the blending of the different cultures and just showing that Christmas can look different for everybody and still be incredibly meaningful. And that was something Romy kind of came to the conclusion of, is that her Christmases were still meaningful, even if they didn't look like this cookie cutter made for TV version.
Yeah, well, she realizes that like doesn't exist, you know, that people that even her like ideal Christmas family were still, you know, going to Chinese and weren't that different from, you know, her own family in a lot of ways. And I think that Markian Tarasuk, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I apologize.
I was trying to figure out how to say his name.
he's a find. I mean, I think he's been in a bunch of these, but like
not a bunch, but he's getting up there.
Yeah, he being in 2 in a row that I watched last night was like, ooh,
yeah.
Hello, you know, and
he's gorgeous.
Yeah,
he's got that multicultural blend that makes him so good looking.
Yeah,
he's got that really great tone in his voice, and he's got an ease. You know, I mean, he played a murderer in the Hannah Swenson mystery.
Oh, really?
And yeah, he was the murderer, and now he's the boyfriend / fiance. He did both of them great. You know, the first thing I saw him in was Christmas Jars. And
he was, that's right.
He was, and that I just went, oh my goodness, where have you been?
Yeah,
he was so good in that movie. He was handsome, of course, and he was romantic, and he was thoughtful, and not too sugary. It just it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like that the parents would probably have given some kind of clue that this was happening.
Oh my gosh.
Like they would just announce and be like, it's happening. And I mean, and plus, like, if you're selling you have to have like realtor and people come and you know, look at the house, look at the restaurant. So I think that, you know, that was a little not realistic, but I did like the fact that his family wasn't like, although I sometimes enjoy when people are over the top, like snobs, that can be funny. But with this, I did kind of like that they were just like super sweet and lovely and really supportive. They weren't like critical of her or whatever. There was no like, oh, you work at a restaurant, you know, and there was none of that. Like everybody was just super sweet and nice, which was great.
Her dreams of the perfect Christmas got dashed without them being cruel, which is what I really liked. It still was a letdown. It was still the letdown, but they all were very kind of, well, except for the niece. She was a brat.
I could have definitely used not having the extended Chex Mix Walmart
puppy chow. I was excited as an investor to see Puppy Chow, though. I do.
I love me some Puppy Chow at Christmas.
That was really funny.
I was like, oh, we know who's sponsoring this one.
They have each of the girls like literally holding the Chex Mix box. We did get to talk to Antonio Cupo on the pod, and he was great and really charming. And I just feel like the interviews the last couple of weeks have been really fun. So if you've missed them, definitely check them out. And I mean, like I said, I thought that Barbara Niven was really good. Like she's always great, but I don't know. It was just a pretty heavy story. And this, I mean, it was kind of shocking, like Sarah Canning, uh, how bitter she was about her dad.
Oh.
And I just wish that I could have had, I guess, a whole movie almost with it. It was a lot, that but they both did a really good job. I think Sarah Canning is a very good actress.
Yes, I love her. I want
Yeah,
her to
she's
keep
excellent.
more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so we also another like it was I wish it had had more time with Sarah Canning's character and her I guess she was trying to have a single mother by choice.
Yeah.
Which is I've never seen that in a Hallmark movie before. So that was really interesting. I mean, she'd done 4 rounds of IVF. Oh my gosh, that's brutal. In so many
That'll
ways.
mess up your body.
Yeah, really hard. And the fact that she'd like already bought presents for the baby and stuff like that was heavy.
Mm-hmm.
That was hard.
Yeah.
And I think most people would say don't do anything like that because it, unfortunately, especially the older you get, the more unlikely it is to work. And then and sometimes these doctors will really like pump people up because they make so much money off of it. Then it's so expensive that they will. I think it seems like from what I've talked to friends who've gone through it and stuff is that you can get a sense of false hope. The whole process is just brutal. Thing. Even if it results in a live birth, which is obviously incredible, it's still I don't think anybody would say it's not a very grueling process.
Yeah.
So that was interesting, and I agree with you about the proposal. It was so sweet, and the fact he gave her like a pipe cleaner ring was really cute, and I loved the fact that the mom was like,
real rings coming.
That's really funny. And it was very sweet at the end when they're all putting the different ornaments on the tree, and you have like Zach's character talking about his immigrant experience and his ornament, and or his father's immigrant experience, and they each had a different, like the little girls putting on the ornaments, and I don't know, that was very sweet.
It was a good rounding out.
Yeah, and it's just the greatest gift we can give ourselves is family and appreciating the moment. That was nice.
Yeah. And this was really the family that you have combined with the family that you make.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. And that was one thing that I really loved because it emphasized the importance of the family that you have, but it also really stressed the idea that it doesn't have to be blood to be family.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is something that is very meaningful. Oh, hello. That's something that is very, very meaningful to me personally. So.
Yeah, I agree. It was very touching, and I thought that Miguel was very sweet. I liked the whole plot with Sadie and Rick for the most part. It was very sweet, and it was just a sweet movie. It's a sweet Hallmark movie. So I would give this one, for me, I would give this one 4 crowns. I enjoyed it. What about you, Jess?
I also gave it a solid 4. I thought it had a lot of heart, a lot of good messages, and Barbara Niven and Sarah Canning almost made me cry. And that we always know that means the movie did something right.
Whoa! I'm sorry. What did you say? I want to hear that again.
Almost. The tears, they were coming, okay, but they didn't quite fall or anything.
Well, Cammie, what would you give it?
I gave it a 4.75. There was very little lacking in this movie for me.
Cool. Okay.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hearty, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Okay, last one is our Christmas Italian Memories. This was on Movies and Mysteries on the 12th. Beau Bridges, Sarah Power, director Catherine Siren, and it's the Colucci siblings, in an effort to jog the memory of their grandfather who's struggling with dementia, set out to recreate their late grandmother's legendary pasta sauce, the sugo.
Sugo!
And we were pretty I think we both gave this a call in our preview, Jess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So it was definitely, for me at least, it was definitely better than I anticipated. I thought that it was very well acted, and it definitely brought back some memories of, particularly with my my grandfather who passed away in 2001. But he started to have the Alzheimer's, and and so it definitely brought back some memories. But Cammie, what overall did you think about this one?
This one was pretty heavy.
It was very heavy. Yeah.
It was pretty heavy because you got the grandfather dealing with Alzheimer's, and you got a lot of tension with the siblings and their personal lives. This wasn't just a grab the tissues. This was a
Yeah.
This was a big one. So I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it, and I thought the messages came through very nicely. I really liked Sarah and Markian as a couple. I thought their story got wrapped up a little too quickly, in my opinion, but I liked them as a couple. I would love to see them as another couple. I loved Beau Bridges. I thought that he played this role to the T with excellence. I also, this is really shocking for me, I loved the ending. I don't usually like the staged look of an ending, but the fact that they're all racing off, the three of them are all racing off to find the pickle. And the people who aren't the kids, it's either the significant others or the spouses or the mom and the grandpa.
Yeah.
And Markian's character, the Dr. Greg, is like, what is going on? And then you have that final shot with found it, and it's the three of their faces. I kind of liked that ending. I didn't think I would, but I did. So
I didn't know that the Christmas pickle tradition was Italian. I thought it was German. So that was the only thing about it that I was like, I didn't think that it fit in this story, but I mean, who cares? But that was the only thing. But Jess, what did you think overall of this one?
I didn't really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I was, as we know, I was done with Italy already. Having another Italian themed one, I was already not like super looking forward to it. And for me as well, I think people who have a connection to someone with Alzheimer's would probably find it very meaningful. I don't, so that storyline didn't quite grab me in the same way I'm sure it did other people. And I don't know, I didn't feel like there was anything quite interesting to grab my attention or to elevate this movie. I did enjoy some of the sibling stuff. I really liked RJ. I thought he was a fun character. I kind of wanted to see a movie about him and his like cooking thing.
Yeah. I agree. I really liked RJ and the fact that he was kind of I don't know if you'd say it, like kind of like a blue collar guy, like a little bit more, like you usually don't see that kind of person in Hallmark movies. Usually they're more sort of the white collar button up kind of, or the like hometown hunk. I don't know, like he was just a little bit different than you normally see, and he was like kind of uncomfortable about that and kind of insecure about that, but
he wasn't dirt poor either.
No. But just he was happy working on the line, in this restaurant. And he had, some ideas, kind of what he wanted to do. He just felt like this girl was way above him, which is kind of swoon worthy in a way, like that little bit of insecurity, so I agree. I thought that was good. I thought the acting in general was very good in this movie. I all pretty much across the board, I thought they were all excellent in their roles. I thought Sarah Powers was really good. She was on Good Witch. She was really good in Good Witch. She's good here. This is definitely way better than her movie last year, which wasn't her fault, but it just wasn't the best script, the Nantucket Noel or whatever. So this was definitely better than that. And I definitely connected to it because, like I said, my grandfather, especially the whole scene where he gets lost. Because that happened with my grandfather. It was during the summer, and he was there visiting or in California, and he wandered away. And I thought at the very beginning, I was like, I don't think that you would just, when he's like out getting his steps and stuff, I'm like, I don't think that you would do that.
I was like, wait, why is somebody not going with him?
And I guess this is kind of the beginning of their journey, so it maybe makes sense to sort of make that mistake. But I was like, I think you would want some kind of supervision of some kind, like maybe take him to the center and then he can walk there or something like that. But anyway, it happened with my grandfather, and we actually even had to have like a helicopter. It was a huge thing. And then we finally found him in like a backyard of a neighbor. The pool man found him. And it was very, scary and upsetting, and luckily he was okay. But yeah, if you ever see like an older person kind of by themselves and they're sort of wandering, like there's a good chance that there might be this kind of situation. So never hurts to like ask a couple questions and like, are you okay? Do you need help? Or, whatever. And I felt like that Beau Bridges, he did a very good job kind of capturing it's just an interesting thing with Alzheimer's, because you can remember these things that like are way far back, and you think that would be the hardest thing to remember. But I guess in a sense, like that's the stuff you've been remembering the longest.
It's more permanent.
Yeah. So it's been in your mind the longest. And so I remember my grandfather, he would remember like specific names of his teachers and his friends in school, grade school, things that he would have really vivid memories of, things like that. But then he couldn't remember his own children's names, at times. And so it's just an interesting how that works, how the brain works. And so I thought he did a very good job of capturing that. It was very heavy. It was definitely a movies and mysteries movie. There's the Miracles of Christmas movie. I thought it was kind of refreshing that they like had no judgment about the mom going to Maui.
Oh yeah, they gave it to her.
Yeah, they sent her off.
Yeah, they said, if this is a Christmas present, you have done enough. Go.
Yeah, which usually you don't like. If you go to a warm climate in a Hallmark movie, you're usually like a villain. Like, what are you doing? So that was,
you want to go to Jamaica for the holidays.
Yeah, I did think that they could have done a better job at the end of really like zhuzhing up this pasta sauce, and we've heard about it all the thing
entire
and like
time.
he could have had this like great montage of her like adding and like really making it look delicious. And they didn't really do that. I mean, it looked like pasta sauce, but they could have like that up a little bit more, I think. But yeah, I like I said, I liked the RJ parts. I mean, Dr. Greg was,
it's
great.
working.
Yeah, he had the sparks. What can you say?
He's really good at flirting. He is really good at flirting. Yeah, it's not corny, it's not cheesy. It's, hey, you're pretty.
Well, it was a cute little moment that they brought in, because the actor, he is actually Ukrainian. I was looking at that he was Ukrainian heritage. And so like the fact that they brought that in with both the cookies and with him bringing the pierogies,
Yeah.
That was kind of a nice little, I thought, little moment in there. And
good blending of the cultures with the Italian and the Ukrainian.
Yeah. One thing I hated in this movie is her sweater. I hated her sweater. It was so ugly.
Wait, grandma's sweater? Or...
No, Sarah Powers, like it was like a beigey color with like
that
cable and weird puffy thing.
It was really puffy. I was like, that doesn't even look that comfortable. I feel like it would just get in your way.
It looked scratchy. It looked, I mean, she's a beautiful woman, of course, but I just didn't care for that costume choice. Personally. I thought the dynamic between the two sisters was pretty well done. I mean,
that was heavy.
It was heavy. But the one feels like you left me with all of this to deal with, right? And then you come in and after having, I can understand why the sister feels resentment, because it's like you've had all these amazing experiences, you're traveling all over the world, you've had all this great stuff, and I'm here, the one holding down the fort. And then
you're mad that I'm selling it. What?
Yeah, and then you're mad and you have an opinion that I'm selling it, and that she's also got like she's about to have a baby. Like a lot is going on in this sister. So in this sister's life. So her attitude kind of, I thought, made sense, and them kind of forgiving each other, and the whole life is short, love is a gift. That was very sweet. Very sweet, I thought. And then they also, family is where you act the worst but are loved the best. Yeah, that was very sweet.
That is so true with my children right now.
I think with everybody, it's true. I mean, family's hard. It's hard, especially when you have strong personalities and trying to keep everybody happy. And
family is difficult.
It's not easy. So yeah, I guess I liked this better than I thought I would, but it's probably not one I would ever watch again, just because it is so heavy. And I also liked when they said smell is the most closely linked sense to memory, and taste isn't far off.
Is not far behind.
Yeah, that was sweet. So I would give this one, I think, a 3.5 out of 5. What about you, Cami?
I'll give it a solid 3.
What do you think, Jess?
I gave it a 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I would like to see all of these same characters in RJ's cooking movie. I think for me, it was mostly just, it wasn't the movie I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
I was done with Italy, and the Alzheimer's part just didn't connect with me, emotionally. So I want to see them in the cooking movie.
That makes sense.
Okay, hold on. One question about this. How Italian was No? Because he didn't sound Italian except for a couple of times when he said CC.
That's true. That's a good point.
Wait a minute. How Italian are you supposed to be? Because Nonna in the very beginning, she sounded very Italian. And so I was like, wait a minute. What are you supposed to be from Italy? Because my grandmother, she was an Italian cook. And her parents were both full-blooded Italian, but she was raised in the States. So she had no American, she had an American accent, but she knew some words in Italian. So I was wondering if that was what they were trying to do with No, but yeah, but that's where I connected to it, was at the very beginning, because grandma would do everything herself, and no one was allowed in her kitchen. So when Nono was helping, that would not have happened with my grandmother.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's true. I can see that. Well, let us know, if you're listening, what you think of these 4 movies. We always love hearing the mini reviews in the comments section from our listeners. So definitely check that out. And Jess, where can people find you?
You can find me at Jess BSW blog on Twitter and Instagram.
And Cami, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Cami Drama Girl.
And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media, And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave us your reviews. It really helps us a lot. 5 stars. It helps people to be able to find the podcast when they're searching for Christmas podcasts. So please, please, please do that. And then if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the Patron group, which gives you tons of fun benefits and it helps us out so much. So please take a look at that. And we have the merch store where you can get tons of fun festive designs. So please take a look over that for your holiday shopping. And thanks so much, ladies. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk to y'all later. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Bye,
Christmas.
guys.